obviously there was like a lot of controversy with you guys not showing up to the reunion. Do you want to clarify?
I would say I messed up. Flat out.
The amount of hate that Jackie's gotten from the show has resulted in her like not being able to travel to certain countries.
Yeah, yo. I was honestly more scared for like how my mom or my dad was going to view me.
Hi guys, and welcome back to the Now What podcast. I'm your host, Brooke Sabey, and today we have a very special guest. We have Jackie from Love is Blind.
Yo, Jackie B from the 253.
Fun fact, she has that tattooed on her butt.
I do. I got the area code on me. Fresh. Always repping everywhere I go.
So today we're going to be talking about basically Jackie's experience on the show, dating in your 20s, the response that she's kind of gotten from the season, and then probably answer just a lot of your guys' burning questions that were left on the table since Jackie did not go to the reunion.
Yeah.
I know. I was waiting for you.
I know. I feel like everybody was waiting for me.
Crashed and I was like, where is she?
Me too. I was over there buffering. I'm like, restart, refresh.
Did they tell you, like, did they give you any like status as to like why it was crashing?
No. We were left out just like everybody else.
You were just also like me sitting on the couch like, what the is going on?
Yeah. Josh was on the live. He was on the live like talking to everybody in there and I'm just like looking at the TV. And Josh is like, this is so funny, like interacting with everyone. They're just like, how are you interacting with us if you're on stage? And he's like,
we're not. Little did they know.
Little do they know.
That's so funny. Yeah, I was like yelling at people on Twitter. I was giving the death threats back to Netflix. I was like, where is it? It's
right,
like, I need to be eating dinner right now.
Mm-hmm. It was like 73-hour delay or something.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Or 73 minutes or whatever.
I gave up at one point. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go eat.
It would come on and it would freeze and it would come on and it would freeze.
Yeah, you get a glimpse of it. I was like, yes, crash.
Literally. And I'm like, you know what? Never do that. YouTube.
True. I mean, they weren't equipped for it. I don't know why they did it if they weren't equipped for it.
Everybody loved it. Everybody loved the season. Everybody thought it was cool, I guess.
You guys did have a wild season. I was like excited for it because it was Seattle, but I think it is objectively the best season that's come out.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
A lot of people saying it.
Yeah.
A lot of people
it was
saying
juicy.
It. Very juicy.
And the cast was wild.
So crazy.
Oh my God. Okay, so how's your life like changed since going on the show?
My life has, to be honest, it's kind of like a 180, but not really a 180. I feel like most people just like recognize me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like on the way here, like I had 2 people be like, oh my God, like you're Jackie.
Yeah.
And I took pictures and I'm like, okay, like what's 2 seconds to take like a picture with somebody, you know?
Yeah.
But when it comes to like overnight like star stardom, like I'm not Kim Kardashian. I'm still the same person, you know, like I can go into QFC and be fine, you know, but still some people are like noticing, get free clothes, get free cookies,
some PR,
right? Good PR packages and boxes and stuff. I got invited to DateCon, which is like an extension of BeautyCon.
Oh, awesome.
So I'll be doing that in September and then I'll be live in February.
Yeah.
Kind of just being there on a panel, just talking about dating and beauty and all that type of stuff. So I'm like, shoot, I never talked about that, but I can do it.
That's awesome. You're like juggling all this and you're also still doing like your dental hygienist.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
still
awesome.
out here, girl. Still out here with
You're
these
hustling.
yuck mouths. Yes, I'm a hustler, okay? I'm out here with these yuck mouths in the trenches. And I'm in the trenches in these comments, but that's okay.
It's okay. It's the internet.
Facts.
The internet is something else.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. I had to, it sucked because when it came out, I wasn't prepared.
Yeah, I was going to ask about this.
I wasn't prepared for how it was. I was ready for just like the little bits and pieces, but I wasn't ready for like everybody to tell me to go burn in hell. I could imagine like maybe 1 or 2 people, but like a whole like groups and people and all types of things. I was like, damn, like, you know, and when I feel like cornered, I'm like on go mode. I'm like, I need to defend myself. I need to make sure that I'm good. So that's why I was kind of like looking crazy because I'm over here trying to defend myself.
Yeah.
But trying to defend myself ended up looking like a nut job. So I felt like I kind of like set myself back a little bit when it came to that. But do I regret it? No, because I was in kind of like fight mode.
Yeah.
Because I'm having all these people coming from all different directions and stuff.
Which is valid. Like, if you are getting hated on, like, you literally got, like, tagged, like, the villain of the season. Like, you, obviously, anybody in that position would probably be trying to clear their name. Being
Facts.
like, come on, guys, please. And then everyone bashed on you for trying to clear your name.
Facts.
It was like you couldn't win.
Yeah. And I should have, because Josh is such a rock. He was my rock through everything. And I felt so bad because he was like, babe, turn your comments off. And I'm so hard-headed. I'm like, no, like, I don't want to turn my comments off.
And
like,
you got slammed for that too.
Oh, child.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to fight for my life in these comments. And he's like, okay, fight for your life. And then, you know, the repercussions was, you know, looking even more crazy.
Yeah.
And then I felt like he was kind of like, I don't want to say like, he got hate because of me, but he got hate because of me. He's just linked up. So he got, you know, kind of like,
just collateral damage.
yeah, basically.
Yeah.
He was collateral damage for sure.
Yeah.
And I feel so bad because it shouldn't be like that. You know, like, yeah, give me all the hate. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be directed onto him because he's his own person and he's a grown man and he does his own things and he did everything, you know, the way that he wanted to. So he shouldn't be linked up with me because of my wrongs, you know?
Yeah. When you were filming, did you ever have any like inkling that you would get the response you were going to get? Like, were you aware that like this was, you know, obviously you were probably prepared for like some hate comments being in like the public eye, but
yeah.
Did you even like have any idea that this was going to happen?
No, man. To be honest, I wasn't even thinking. When I was in the moment, like doing all that, I wasn't even thinking about how a year later was going to be. I was in the heat of the moment. And then it didn't really hit me until I started seeing like the floods of DMs. And I was just over here like, whoa, how did it go from those two to me? You know, like the other two. So I'm like, how did it come to me? You know, and I'm like, oh, that's why.
Yeah.
Got it. So it was kind of like one of those things where I should have prepared more.
Yeah.
I was not prepared. And when I'm not prepared, I freak out. And I'm just over here fighting for my life. And I'm usually more strategic, but this was so on the fly.
Yeah. No, definitely. Do you still talk to anybody from the show, from your season?
Me and Chelsea talk all the time. Chelsea will call me at like 2 a.m, 3 a.m, 4 a.m. And I'm over here like, girl, I'm sleeping. And she's like, oh, girl, I'm over here with Rocky, her little dog.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, we over here, you know, just drinking, having a good time. I just want to talk to you. You know how Chelsea is, like so bubbly. And I'm like, girl, it's not nighttime. Girl, it's 3 a.m. But that's my girl. Chelsea is a grown woman for sure.
Yeah.
Chelsea is on her like, Chelsea is real like, I don't play that. Yeah. She's real like, I'm gonna nip it in the bud and I'm not playing for none of that. She's very protective of Kwame.
Yeah.
And she's very protective of herself and the relationship, and as you should be.
Yeah.
And I really vibe with that because I'm like, that's exactly how I am, even though I looked a little funky doing it and she looked a little bit better. Still same concept, just I went a little bit messier.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's awesome because I was worried that, you know, obviously with the response that you got from your season that like, you know, the other cast members were like, I don't want to associate with her. Like, I feel like from all of the stuff I've seen on social media, like when they're together, like you're always the one that's like not there. So I didn't know if like you still kept in contact with anybody or people just chose not to like be around you because of like obviously what was going on.
Girl, they probably choosing not to be around me, but that's okay. I choose not to be around them either.
Okay.
It's not like I'm over here texting them being like, oh, hang out with me.
Yeah.
Y'all know. I'm all up underneath my man. I'm just trying to, because that's the whole premise of it, is trying to be with your man.
Yeah.
And
the
like,
whole point was to find a partner.
Exactly. And like, I'm close with like some of the people that weren't really shown. Like, I'm close with
Yeah,
April.
there's people that like didn't even make it on like really.
Yeah.
Like you did.
Exactly. Like I'm cool with April. Like she wasn't really shown, but I'm cool with her. Kendra, Keisha, like those are my girls. Like they were on the show, but they weren't really shown. But those are real girls, real life girls, like real experiences. Keisha and me were from the same city, same town. Like we can relate. Like me and her, we were just over there just talking and just really chatting it up. And it's nice having people who weren't really like in how like I was like followed, how they're kind of just like off, kind of just being like, no, like snap out of it. Like this is not life.
Yeah.
You know, like this is only here for temporarily, but this is real life, you know, outside of it. And I feel like I don't want to say they're two different worlds, but it's kind of two different worlds because you have like, you know, those that are going and doing things and they're kind of just, you know, and I'm in between. I'm doing things and I'm just chilling at home.
Yeah.
So I have the best of, I'm Miley Cyrus.
She's doing both dental hygienist and influencer.
Facts. Put that on your resume.
Do you think that like, have you like gotten better at, I don't know, dealing with the hate? Do you like still, I see you like, you definitely still clap back at comments a little bit.
Oh, for sure. That's my thing. I think I got that from Josh because Josh takes everything so lightly and he'll turn it into a joke.
Yeah.
And like me, I'm just like, yeah, like if they're like, oh, give the ring back. I'm like, I ate it. I ate the ring. I don't know where the ring is. Who has a ring? I don't know who has a ring. Obviously I do. But, you know, I'm just over here clapping back at them because why not?
Yeah. You still have it?
I still do.
Yeah.
It's in my mama's jewelry box. I'm never going to get rid of it. I'm never going to sell it. I'm never going to do none of that because why would I? It's a once in a lifetime experience.
People kept saying that you pawned it and then...
Girl.
Yeah.
No, these pawn shops out here, especially in Washington, ain't giving you the money that you think you're getting.
I don't understand the hate that you get from it because it's obviously like it was to you. And he talked about in the podcast that it was customized for you.
Mm-hmm. And I didn't know that. I didn't know that everything was white gold.
Yeah.
All the rings. I thought, you know, you could pick and choose if it was yellow. I was always raised with yellow gold. I'm not wearing no white gold, period. So when my mom was like, well, you know, yellow gold is a little bit better than white gold, it always stuck with me. So when he was like yellow or white, I was like, yellow. And I didn't know that all it was white, and then they had to, you know, customize it and stuff like that. Now that I know that, I feel a little bit better keeping the ring, you know, because
then it was like made for you.
It's Jackie B. You know, it's my ring.
Yeah.
You had that made with me in mind.
Yeah.
What's the problem?
Yeah.
It's not like you can go to work and wear it. It's not like you can, you know, I understand that it's a symbol. I get that. I totally get that. But at the end of the day, are you going to be able to wear it?
Yeah.
No. I'm not wearing it.
And Netflix paid for it, is from what I've been told.
Yeah.
And so it's like you can't return it.
Facts.
It's been customized for a specific person. What are you gonna do with it?
Yeah.
I get that like why it left like a salty taste. People are like, just give it back.
Yeah. And everyone hit me with the Washington state laws.
Oh, I did see that in your comments. Yeah.
I've never been so schooled on some RCWs, girl. They were over here telling me like, so law number RCW 800,000 says, you know, property, blah, 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 blah. And I'm over here like, is this Judge Judy? Because if I was in front of Judge Judy, that girl would have made me give it back. And I'd have been over here like, no, ma'am.
Well, also, if there were laws in place and he wanted it back that bad, then...
Oh, he wouldn't have been had it.
Then it would have got back. I just feel like it's the outside people are making it a bigger deal than it is between like you and Marshall.
Yeah. And like we've already like moved on. Like we're not even in that space. That was a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Almost.
No, I definitely feel like all the viewers' timelines are screwed up because it seems like it just happened for us because we just saw it. But like you guys shot this so long ago.
Yeah.
We're just now seeing it. So
Facts. Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a long time since like you actually even like were on the show.
Yeah. It honestly, and like being just seeing it with you guys, it was kind of like one of those things where it's like, oh wow. So like we saw it the same time you guys did.
Yeah. You didn't watch it beforehand or anything? Mm-mm. Oh my.
It was like sprung on us just like the way that it was sprung on you guys. Which was fun because I took every Friday off to watch it. That way I could get ahead of it just in case. Once I started seeing like the couple of like DMs and stuff like that were getting crazy, I was like, no, I need to take some Fridays off and get ahead of it. That way I can. But even when I did, I did not get ahead of it. I was over here like, no, not on my watch.
Were you like angry the first time you saw it? Or like what was your reaction?
I had mixed feelings. I was angry. I was sad.
Yeah.
I was hurt. I was petrified. I was honestly more scared for like how my mom or my dad was going to view me because, you know, it's a whole different side than what they're used to. Mm-hmm. So I was more worried about like my mom and my dad being like, damn girl, like what is going on? Like, you know, but my dad was really sick at the time. So my dad was kind of just trying to be my rock. And like my mom, caring for my dad, like she gave me attention for the show, but it was mostly like to my dad because my dad was sick. Mm-hmm. So when everything was going on and like having my dad being sick too at the same time, it put extra weight on it for sure. So I was more like scared than I was anything because I'm just like, damn, like I'm fighting so many wars and I'm fighting this huge war, like this huge battle. And I just felt like, damn, like I'm losing.
Yeah. This was like your first time experiencing like online hate, right? 'Cause before like, you were not like social media influencer. So that's crazy to get thrown into that so fast and then have the reaction that you had and then like have to deal with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And on top of what was going on with like family issues and behind the scenes issues that were going on. Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah.
It like spilled over, like the V Live. I watched a little bit of like Marshall like saying like, with the whole like breakdown in Mexico, my mom, like he said, my mom had called me in the car because my dad had fell.
Oh,
and my dad fell twice. My dad fell in Mexico, and then my dad fell when me and Marshall were breaking up, or you know whatever the case was that he was saying. My mom called me and she was crying and I'm like, Mom, what's wrong? And she's like, Daddy fell. And I'm over here like in Mexico and I'm already feeling bad because I'm like, I go home every weekend. I make sure that my mom and my dad are okay. Like I hang out with them, like, you know, I spend time with them, and, you know, me going and enjoying this trip, I felt so guilty because I'm like, damn, like it should be my mom and my dad doing this, not me, you know? And I felt so helpless because I'm in Mexico and my dad's on the floor and my poor mom's trying to pick him up. And I'm just bawling my eyes out. I'm going through it. And then on top of that, I'm being, you know, thrown into filming again. And that's when I'm over here having a whole types of attitudes and breakdowns. And you guys don't really get the back of it because it happened in the car because my mom had called me. And they're not going to play that on TV. And it wasn't filmed. When my mom, Marshall was sitting right next to me. My mom called and he even heard her like on the phone and he was like, oh my God, is she okay? And I'm like, it's getting crazy back at home, you know? So I had, and when I was like, I have to deal with that shit going home, which I repetitively said, I had to go back to dealing with like my dad being really sick. Like my dad was really, really sick. And it was one of those things where you want to stop the sickness because you know the sickness can be prevented. And it was kind of like one of those things where my dad wanted to keep putting himself in those situations. So it was like helpless. I'm angry. I'm sad. And that was one thing that me and Marshall connected with is both of our fathers were really sick at the time. And we really connected in the pods with that. And we kind of were just like feeding off each other's energy. And I think that was kind of like, I don't want to say trauma bonding, but it was like one of those things where like, damn, we can relate to something.
Like you see me.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. That's why I feel like I get like upset with the reaction that you've gotten because I don't think people realize that like a lot of the stuff that like is going on is not shot on camera. Like we were talking about this with like The Bachelor and any other like dating show. It's all like you guys are secluded. The cameras are on you all the time. Like no conversations are missed. And there's so many things going on. So for people to just like categorize you as this like evil, awful person, I'm like, you don't know what is going on behind the scenes, what conversations are being had. You're only seeing like a blip of this person. And like to give them some grace on top of the fact that you're going through a very vulnerable thing like dating in front of a bunch of people. And no, most of you guys are not coming back like from a public figure background. Like this is all like a very scary new thing.
All of
and
us.
On top of it, like you are having stuff behind the scenes too. And it's just like to get slammed the way you are, I'm like, I don't know. Like, have some grace to like people that are going through
Girl,
this.
I tried. I was like, give me some grace. And they were like,
they were like, stop talking.
They told me to shut the hell up multiple times in them comments, girl. Multiple times. And it was hard because I was like, who are you talking to? But
do you think that like the show like accurately portrayed you at all, or did you see that person you're like, that's not me?
50-50.
Okay.
50-50. I'm always going to be spicy. I'm always going to say what I want to say. I'm never going to hold back. My delivery could be totally different for sure. I think that was more of a life lesson for me, like seeing how my delivery was. I was like, ooh, Jack, like you could have toned it down a little bit. Or when Marshall was like clapping and I was like, who are you clapping at? That's when I was starting to get fired up because I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not raised like that. But my delivery could have been a little bit better. You know, it could have been a little bit more mature in some situations. But that comes with life lessons, you know. How old am I? 28? 27? I don't even know.
Very young.
Yeah. So I've got, you know, all this lifetime and realms to just like grow.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know, I need to give myself some grace. I don't care if America's not giving me grace at all. Like, you know, at the end of the day, they're not living my life. So I have to give my own self grace.
Yeah. Do you think that you've like changed your communication styles at all, like after seeing your season, but like in your current relationship with Josh now?
Yeah, so it's hard because every day I feel like I take 5 steps forward and like 5 steps back. Because like sometimes like me and Josh barely fight, but when we do fight, it's very hard because we're both kind of like the same people. Like we're just like butt heads. And it's kind of like we just keep going and going and going and going because we kind of like want to win. And I think it's more of like who can get the last word in. And it shouldn't be like that. It should just be like, okay. And like sometimes I have to like catch myself and be like, ooh, okay, I get it. That way it doesn't get escalated. And then sometimes I'm kind of just like, no, like I'm not going for that. And then it gets even more. So it's 50-50. I have my days where I'm just like better. And then there's my days where I just set myself way back.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, like progress is not linear.
Yeah.
So in anything.
Yeah. And progress for me is like this, up and down, up and down, up and down. And I'm just like, child, like, I'm just glad that Josh is here, just being who he is. Like just trying to be a rock and just trying to be like, hey, like I got you. Like if you're bipolar, that's cool.
He handles those mood swings.
He handles them mood swings, girl. He's
good.
very mature. Very mature. Like even though I felt like he just got like the worst parts like shown of him. He's such a great guy.
He definitely, I feel like when you said he's mature from what I've just seen on the show, I was like, huh? Because he was in it for like a small amount, and then they showed like, I feel like the worst parts. I don't know this person, but it just felt like there's no way. This has to be like the worst parts of this person.
Yeah. And it sucks because Josh is not like that. Josh, since I've been with him for like a year and a half now, he's probably taken like 4 shots. He does not drink. If anything, I'm the drinker.
Yeah.
And he's always like, no, I just want water or a Sprite. Water, Sprite, or root beer. Those 3 things. And
those are good.
Yeah. I love all 3. But every once in a while, he'll take a shot. But when he takes a shot, he's done. He's like, I'm good. Like, I'm cool. Like, he's such a lightweight. And I felt like that whole scene with him, I just felt was so unfair. It was so unfair because I'm like, that's not how Josh is. Like, that is not him at all. And like bringing him home, it was kind of like my mom was like, is that like him? And I'm like, no, that's not him at all. And like when he came, he was like bubbly and live. And mom was like, oh, this is totally not him, you know?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like one of those things too, where he was put in a situation where he didn't look his best. And it's not fair to him too. So we were both kind of like in a situation where we're just like, damn, like out of all the scenes, you chose those ones, you know?
Yeah.
And we made it all the way up to day 9. And out of day 10, I made it up to day 9 with Josh Weiser. Only one scene shown with Josh at the reunion. Yeah. It's not even like throughout the whole time you see me and Josh in the pods. No, you see me and Marshall. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. But what about me and Josh? It's almost like Josh is like a paid actor to come back and get me. Like there's no like story or what we talked about, even though there's not really a lot of substance. Like we talked about like DJ Khaled and like jet skis and all this type of like memes and stuff. And like me and Marshall had like heart to heart.
Yeah.
Like me and Josh are best friends.
Yeah.
Like that's my twin. Like if I was a boy, that's him. No, literally.
That's good though.
Yeah. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah. You want a best friend before a lover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know that I can like throw up all my feelings and that stays sacred. Like he's never going to go and tell nobody nothing because he's like, my loyalty is to you.
Yeah. There were a lot of questions I know with like him being at Chelsea's party. Like how the hell was he even there? Considering he was like kind of, like you said, like felt like a paid actor that like came back in.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that at all? Like why he was there?
I think he was there because he loved me. He was so nervous before he came in. He is like the little college boy that he is, having 4 Locos before he had like 2 4 Locos before he came and saw me.
So that's why he was so drunk. Okay.
He had 2 4 Locos before he came and saw me. And even when he was talking to me, I was looking at him and I'm like, you're trash. Oh. Like you're so trashed. But he was still spitting that game. I was like, you're so drunk, but he was fine. He was smelling good. And I was like, I don't even care if he's like, and I was like, he's fine to me.
Oh my God. Yeah, because there were people that were speculating that like you invited him, and I was like,
me and Josh never had even a conversation prior to Chelsea's thing. And I can say that when Marshall was like, oh, we were going through everybody's Instagram, I looked at Josh's Instagram and I was like, I wasn't expecting Josh to look like this.
Yeah.
Josh was still like handsome to me, but I just didn't think he was looking like that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, okay. But like on the low, I was like, you know, because I'm with Marshall. Like, I'm like, oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Marshall said you said ew.
Did I say ew? No, I didn't say ew.
Oh,
I
he said that on the interview with the V-Files. He said that you guys were pulling up the Instagram and you saw, you're like, that's what he looks like? Ew, ew, ew.
What? I didn't say ew. I said, oh. I said, oh my. And I was like, and I just kept scrolling because I was talking to JP and I was talking to Josh and Marshall and Juan Johnson, but Juan wasn't really shown.
Oh, yeah, I was like, I don't know who that is.
Nobody knows who Juan Johnson is. But yeah, with those three, I looked through all their Instagrams. Well, I knew what Marshall looked like, but those two I looked and I was like, to be honest, like JP in the pods, he sounded like a person of color. And he was the first person to disclose that he wasn't a person of color to me because he went to Spanaway Lake. I went to Bethel. It's in the same school district. But Spanaway Lake is more of like the ethnic, like where all like the people of color go. And like Bethel's kind of like where like, you know, not the ethnic people go. Yeah. So I was just like, yeah, man, it's hard for like POCs because I didn't know if JP was a color. And he was like, I'm not a POC. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I'm white. And it was like, and I ran back in that pod, girl, and I made a federal announcement. I was like, JP is white. And it was like World War III. They were like, no, he's not, because he sounds like a person of color. Yeah. And I will never forget when I snitched on him, the next time I saw him in the pods, he was like, I know you did not go and tell all the girls in the pods that I was white. And I was like, I did. I was like, I'm sorry. And he was like, no, it's cool, because it was literally like night and day. Yeah. Because JP has kind of like that Southern like swag talk, you know, and I'm over here thinking like Paul Wall. It's more like not Paul Wall, you know. And I was like, wow, it's crazy. So I saw his Instagram and I was like, I was not expecting that. So seeing people's Instagram, I was like, I'm not expecting that at all. So I did not say, if I said ill, oh my, I must have been lit, child, because I don't remember saying ill. I thought I said oh. But why would I say oh in front of like my new fiance?
Maybe
you know?
said ew, but you were thinking oh.
Yeah. In my mind, I was like oh, but I'm over here like ew, child, ew. Who would want to be with him? Oh my god, let me go ahead and talk to him.
One of the questions that Marshall had on the V-Files thing was that like you always knew he was like more of the softer type. Yeah. Even when you guys were just like talking, and if you knew that like that wasn't your type, why did you end up choosing it?
So Josh was what I was used to. Like swag, cool, chill, really like not really talking about feelings. That's like what I wanted. And Marshall was like what I thought I needed. Really like emotional. Like I've never had somebody like throw up all their feelings for me and be like, oh, I love you and blah, blah, blah. And it was like, ooh, like I like that. Like I've never heard that before. So I was like gravitating towards that, you know? And like with Josh, it was kind of like, oh, I like you, you know, like we're DJ Khaled, you know, let's talk about DJ Khaled, you know, that's what I was used to. And I was like, maybe I need to, with this experiment, maybe go for something I need instead of that I wanted. Yeah. Because everything that I ever wanted didn't work out. Yeah. So I was thinking like, damn, if I choose Josh, am I not going to work out? This would have been like a wasted experiment, you know? Yeah. So I chose Marshall. And I don't think it was a wasted experiment at all, because I've never had anybody tell me every hour or so how much they felt about me. And it was so refreshing because I'm like, damn, like this is what I always dreamt of. And like, why would I rob myself of something of this, you know, something that could be like a magnitude, like great. But it kind of was like something that I could never get used to. And it was one of those things where I wish I would have gotten used to, because it was so refreshing. That's all I could go back and just being like, it's so refreshing because I never heard of it before. Yeah. And like hearing it was so, I don't want to say eerie, but it was so different. Yeah. It was so different. And it was like, oh, this is what I need.
Yeah.
And I liked Marshall a lot. I didn't love Marshall, but I liked him a lot.
Yeah.
Him and Josh were like this. Like after I had a date with Josh, it would be like this. Then I had a date with Marshall, then it'd be like this. So I was always battling back and forth between those two. And I would come out of the pods and I would just be like Barnett from season 1. I was like, damn, do I choose Amber or do I choose Jessica?
Yeah. What I want or what I need.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I chose what I needed. And it didn't turn out the way that I thought it would, but I don't regret it. I don't regret it at all.
Yeah. No, I feel like people have slammed you a lot. They're like, "What if you knew that wasn't what you wanted? Like, why the did you even pick it in the first place?" But I'm like, the whole point of this experiment was to like step outside your comfort zone and like maybe date that person that you wouldn't go for in real life.
Yeah.
And like you gave it a shot and it didn't work out. And I feel like people are like crucifying you for like, well, then you just should have chose Josh in the beginning.
Yeah.
But you were like giving it a shot.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if that's like totally fair. Like the amount of hate that you're getting for giving it a shot.
Yeah. I think if Josh would have just said I had cauliflower ear, I would have just chose him.
You would have chosen him if he had said that?
I would have chose it. I love his ears. I know everybody
you got a thing for cauliflower.
I love his ears. People are like, oh, them broccoli ears. I'm like, I lick them every night. I don't care what y'all say. I love that man's ears. I'm like, that's all right. Because if your man don't got cauliflower ears, you're going to be fighting for your life out there. Not me. Somebody step up to me and talk crazy. My man already knows what to do. I don't know about them non-cauliflower ears out here. I know mine got me. Oh my God. And like, not only that, I just think it's like, he feels like home. Yeah. If that makes sense. Yeah. Like Josh just feels like I can just be myself. Like I burp in front of him. Like I fart in front of him. Like it's honestly just like so chill. Like I can fart in front of Marshall. Like it was fine. Like I was farting in front of anybody. I don't care. But it's more like one of those things where it's like, I can fart and he'd just be like, okay, like whatever. When I would fart, Marshall would be like, oh, you farted. Like, that's so crazy. And I'm just like, yeah. And Josh would be like, okay. Unless they stink, then he'll be like, babe, really? I'm like, sorry, I'm so crazy. But I'm saying that is my best friend. That is literally my best friend for sure.
That's good. Yeah.
I love that man. It's honestly like sickening how much I love him, if that makes sense. It's scary.
That's good though. I feel like that's when you know it's like the one or like it's different.
Yeah. He's definitely the one for sure. Like if I wouldn't have met Josh, I don't know if I would have met my person, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Because he's not originally from here. So I don't know if I would have been able to find my person. I would have traveled to Ohio. Girl,
if you could.
Ohio? Yeah, who in Ohio? I'd have been over here like, who am I looking for? Yeah, my little baby.
If you could travel with the no-fly list situation.
Yeah, girl, I'm on a no-fly list. I'm banned from 8 continents and 24 countries.
The amount of hate that Jackie's gotten from the show has resulted in her like not being able to travel to certain countries.
Yeah, y'all. I am banned from Ghana. I'm banned from Amsterdam. I'm banned from England. In the motherland of Africa, they banned me as a whole. The whole people of Africa, they band together and they said, child, if we ever see you in that airport, you better make sure that we don't run up on you. And I said, oh my God, let me not fly to Africa.
So you were sat in Seattle.
I said, you know what? Let me just stay my here in the 206 and just chill out. I'll go to the motherland when I'm 60 and everybody forgets.
Then they won't
me.
Recognize it
exactly.
Anymore.
I'll be over here just like old and wrinkly, girl.
Oh my God. So when obviously there was like a lot of controversy with you guys not showing up to the reunion. Yeah. So people were saying that you had death threats. Some people were saying you got uninvited. Mm-hmm. Do you want to clarify?
Yeah. So without giving too much, I would say the reunion was hot for everybody involved. It was hot for me and Josh, and it was hot for Love is Blind.
Yeah.
It was like a double-edged sword, to be honest. You damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because if me and Josh would have shown up, I know that audience would have been like,
I know, we were all waiting for you to show up.
Let us get our tomatoes and oranges prepared because we were going to throw them at them. I know for sure we were going to have tomatoes thrown at us. But we were prepared for it because we were like, we already know how we looked. And
you already watched it.
Yeah. And Josh I was not mentally like right. I was fighting for my life. I was going through it. And Josh is more of like let me go ahead and set everything up. That way you don't have to do anything. You just follow the protocol. That's what he does for me. He's kind of just like, I'll set everything up and you just follow what I say. But you know, me being hard-headed Jackie B, I'm like, no, I want to go and do my own thing. And Josh is over here like, why are you doing this? And I think a combination of me like fighting for my life on Instagram and Twitter, me going and, you know, doing all these other things. And then, you know, Netflix having, you know, the threats and us having the threats and like how we were portrayed and all these crazy things. It was kind of like, don't sacrifice those two.
Yeah.
And it sucked because we wanted to so bad.
Yeah.
I wanted to because I wanted to sit there and just experience. And me and him had matching green. We were wearing matching green, child. I went out of the way and got me a matching green dress with that man.
You were prepared to go to the reunion.
I was prepared. We were going to be the green money couple coming in, okay? And we ended up being the Skype couple.
That sucks because it's like, I remember you were trying to clear your name.
Yeah.
Screenshots and like, wait till the reunion. I got this and this receipt. And then everyone was waiting for you guys to get on it. And then it was like Skype.
Yeah.
And like pre-recorded.
Yeah.
So
it sucked because I wanted that face-to-face with Marshall. And it wasn't even like Marshall and me had a beef. Me and Marshall, we didn't have any type of beef. I think what it was is I was fighting for what my image should have been. And I think it was misconstrued as a beef with Marshall. Marshall had nothing to do with what I was beefing with. He just happened to be a part of my storyline, if that made sense. And I wanted to sit across from him and be like, look, I apologize for hurting you, for not giving you grace, because Marshall is very understanding, very open, very like, I got you. Like I could sit here and tell him, you know, the most wildest thing about me and he'd be like, don't worry about it. I love you. It's cool. And I should have given him more grace because I feel like I put my foot on his neck. Girl, I feel like I put my foot on his neck and I felt like in some ways I was just too much.
yeah.
I was just too much. And I wanted to take accountability for doing that to him because if I could just do that much and be like, hey, I'm sorry that I put you through the ringer. I'm sorry that, you know, I didn't give you, you know, the grace or whatever. I could get a little bit of heat off of me. But in all sincerity, that's what he deserved too. We both deserved an I'm sorry. Like he said it to me, I say it to him. And I felt so bad because Josh wanted to say more. And, you know, me, I'm over here nervous and I'm over here rambling. I'm a rambler. And my baby's so patient. My baby's just sitting there and he's just like,
When she's done.
yeah. And my baby only had like a minute left. And I felt so bad because I was like, he needed that time to clear up why he was lit at Chelsea's party.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because it definitely, like, I feel like that only, like, contributed to, like, the heat you were getting because it felt, like, so scripted, so short, like, bye-bye, we don't care, like, we're together now, everyone else, and goodbye.
It is high key that too. Me and my man, we are strong. We have our days. We have our days where we're just like, child, not today. You know, like all relationships. But we ain't gonna leave each other.
Yeah.
I'm a Demas already. I don't need a piece of paper to tell me I'm a Demas. I'm Josh Demas too. Just minus the ears and the fighting skills. That's my man. And you know, I've just felt so bad for him because he just, like you said, collateral.
Yeah. And I feel like you guys were just like trying to get your voice out on like Instagram because he made a whole video. His response was a lot better than like when you wrote out your apology. Gave screenshots, put in a clip of Marshall saying like we're fine. Still comments death threats.
Oh yeah, girl. They said I hated gay people.
Yeah, after those
what
like,
the hell
text messages that came out.
Oh my, okay, y'all. I was raised. I know that saying sweet is probably not the best thing, but I was raised like hearing my mom and my dad say, "Oh, he's a little sweet." Me, I'm not thinking that's a slur. I'm not thinking that's anything disrespectful, but I did see some things that I didn't like when it came to Marshall. And when those messages came out, child, I was embarrassed. I was so embarrassed.
Yeah.
My best friend that I grew up with since kindergarten, Drake, you probably seen him on my TikTok or my Instagram or whatever, gay, about gay as can be. And he even was kind of like, girl, you should have said that to me. You shouldn't have said that to nobody else, because not everybody is in your corner. Mm-hmm. And I would never go out of my way and be disrespectful to nobody, because I know what they go through. I know what I go through. And that community don't need to have no type of hate. And who am I to sit over here and make fun of, that type of community? I would never do that. I don't have no type of hate. Like, and I know it's like one of those things where it's like the racism people are like, oh, I have black friends. I don't want to sit here and be that person, because I'm going to sit here and take accountability. I messed up flat out. I shouldn't have been over here texting those things. I shouldn't have been over here on social media. I have to take accountability, even though it sucks sitting here saying it. But I'm a grown woman, and I have to be like, look, I shouldn't have been over here doing that. Mm-hmm. And I felt comfortable. I felt cool, because I thought that was like my friend that I could just throw up on. And I stopped being friends with her because she wanted to be filmed. She was begging to be filmed. And I was like, girl, like, you don't want to film. Trust me, you do not want to be in a situation where I am right now, especially not meeting Marshall or meeting anything. You don't have any background. And she just kept pressing and pressing and pressing. And there was one night where I shared my location with obviously all my friends just in case I get kidnapped or something. Yeah. She actually showed up to one of the places that me and Marshall were filming at. And I look outside and I see her and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why are you here? And once we wrapped up, I went up to her and I was like, why are you here? And she was like, oh, like,
I want my 2 seconds of fame.
No, literally. And I was like, you're a weirdo. Like, I'm cool off this. Like, you're trying to get pressure off me and I don't like that. And I think once I cut her off from that, she felt jaded and
that's why the text came out.
Yeah.
That's kind of
yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people were like, I didn't like what you said, but they were like, felt bad in the way that you trusted somebody. Mm-hmm. It was a private text. It wasn't meant for the public.
Child, if everybody's group checks got leaked.
Most people would
oh my God. If anybody's text messages got leaked, it would be so bad.
Yeah.
It just,
There's just people that you trust, that you talk a certain way to, knowing that like they know that you're not any certain type of way.
Yeah.
And, that was taken out of the private to the public. Yeah. When it wasn't supposed to be.
Yeah.
Which sucks, especially because it's somebody that you like trusted.
Oh, for sure. I thought she was like one of my girlfriends for sure. And when that had happened, I was like, what the hell is going on? Because I kept getting tagged in this TikTok.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not paying attention to no TikTok. Girl, I should have paid attention to that damn TikTok, because that thing had over like 4 million views.
I saw it. I was like, whoa, what the
child? I have more. I swear, me and Josh and Marshall, like, I call us the triplets. We have more views than anybody else for just like random things. Like if my face, 5 million views, Marshall's face, 6 million views, Josh's face, 5 million views. And like when the other couples is like 2, 3 or 1 or whatever, but we brought that drama. Yeah. That's just what it was.
Yeah.
I think it was mostly just me being crazy child and me not taking, me just being me. I think that's just what it was. And I should have toned it down a little bit. I should have, to be honest, I should have known where to read the room and how to maneuver. Mm-hmm. That was one of my biggest things growing up. Is my dad, he loved Can't Tell Me Nothing by Kanye West. That was his favorite song. And he liked the other song with Tupac. And like Tupac always said, I'd be waiting in the back of the courtroom waiting for the outcome. And my dad was always like, you go into any area situation, observe it first, figure out how you're going to maneuver and act upon that. Mm-hmm. When I first landed and I met all of these girls, I sat in the back excluded from everybody and I read every single girl. And I was like, okay, this, and this. And the fact that when I went and I filmed and I forgot all about that eats me up every day.
Yeah. Well, it's different like when you like game plan going into something. I just shot something on Friday. Like I was like, okay, I'm ready. Like had like questions prepared. Camera start rolling. I was like like you black out.
Yeah.
I don't feel like people understand that like when you're like in front of a camera and stuff, it's like a totally different person than like maybe what you had like prepared for, planned for.
Yeah.
And not saying that like you were trying to be somebody else, but like there's just like a different person that comes out that's like not authentic to yourself because you're so nervous.
Yeah.
And again, you're not coming from like a background of like being a public figure
Exactly.
that like everyone
I was
like,
just about to
you for this, and you're like, dude, this isn't even like accurate of me, and like.
Yeah.
How are you going to prove that? Because they're like, well, then you're lying. Because they want you to be the villain.
Exactly. Yeah. And Josh was always like, babe, you were you, but like 10 times harder. He was like, you were trying to prove something.
Yeah.
And I was over here trying to be like, look, don't play with me. Even though like in real life, don't play with me. Like I'm always ready. So I don't have to get ready, you know?
Yeah.
But like, I felt like I wanted to prove that even more because I wanted to feel like I'm not one of these regular people out here. Like, don't play with me. But I felt like I went about it the wrong way where I should have just been myself. And I was myself in some situations, but I felt like in other situations, I was like, I need to be like 20 times harder. I need to boss up 40 times harder, you know?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it kind of looked like,
it came off wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. That's why my apology tour is coming out, y'all. My apology tour is coming out in this month. I don't know when it's coming out, but I know.
This is the beginning.
This is the beginning of my apology tour. Yeah.
So there was a lot of questions about also just like timeline of like, when did you meet Josh? When did you and Marshall break up? I remember I watched like the V-Files and he was saying that you guys met for the first time physically at Chelsea's party, but a lot of people were unsure if you met or like met behind his back before you guys had broken up. So like the timeline is all messy with there because obviously Netflix like edits things, changes timelines and stuff. But like from your mouth, what exactly is like the timeline?
So me and Josh never saw each other, never spoke.
Yeah.
Chelsea's party was the first time I saw and spoke to him. And my hand on the Bible, if I had a Bible right here, I never had a conversation prior to meeting him at Chelsea's party. He never messaged me. He never did anything because I was engaged to Marshall. And that was the first, after I saw him at Chelsea's party, he did text me the next day and he wrote me an apology. He was like, I'm sorry, I was so drunk. I don't remember if I said anything crazy. I'm so sorry. And I would just respond and I was like, it was good. Don't worry about it. And that was it. It was kind of like, don't worry about it. And he was like, okay. And I didn't want to say anything more because I was with Marshall. And I'm one of those where I'm paranoid. I feel like Marshall's going to find out if I'm over here, you know, doing something I'm not supposed to be doing, you know? And not only that, out of respect out of my relationship, I wouldn't want Marshall, you know, talking to Chelsea or something behind my back because I'd be furious. So I kind of just like, it's all good. And we left it at that. And we didn't speak. We didn't see each other or anything until the coffee shop.
Yeah.
And when we saw each other at the coffee shop, it honestly looks like we did see each other before because the chemistry was so crazy.
Yeah, that's what the speculation was coming from. And then Marshall on the podcast was saying that like there was a night that you came back and you said you go visit your dad, but you were like doing your hair and like grab some makeup, and he was like, are you really seeing your dad?
Because my parents live an hour and 30 minutes away. So if I'm gonna drive an hour and 30 minutes away, I'm not gonna drive that. If I'm leaving at like 5, getting there at like 6:37, I'm not going to drive back at like 11:30 and then try and film the next day. I'm just going to spend the night with my family, especially if I know my dad had fell. Let me go ahead and bring all my makeup and my gel with me. That way, as soon as I come and see you, I'm ready to film, you know?
Yeah.
So, and I totally understand where Marshall's coming from. He's probably like, what the heck? Like, why would you do that? I get that. But also knowing that my parents live in Timbuktu.
Yeah.
And we're over here filming in downtown Seattle. It's kind of like distance, like, you know.
Yeah. And that like wasn't conveyed in the show how far you were going. It was just like, you're grabbing your makeup, you're leaving, where are you going?
Exactly. And I should have told Marshall, like, I'm not going to come back that night. And I didn't come back that night. I went home to my mom's and I stayed there.
Yeah.
And the next day we filmed. And I came makeup ready. I don't understand where the misconstrued was, but I totally understand where he's coming from because I didn't convey that to him.
Yeah. And you guys had like already broken up by the time that you saw him at the coffee shop. Yeah. Yeah. Because now you're getting labeled. You're like, she's a cheater. She did this and this and this.
I'm a fat cheater girl. I'm a big fat cheater and a big fat liar. And that's crazy. It's so crazy because I was like, it just sucked. It sucked because I didn't want it to be like that. I don't understand why they showed it like that. I try and get answers. They can't even tell me because it was kind of like me and Marshall one day and then boom, I'm over here with Josh. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe you should have added some dates in between. Maybe you should have added some clarity in between instead of just having me go meet Josh. And I'm sitting here like soaking up all his, sweet everything that he's telling me. And there's no backstory for me and him.
I don't know. I feel like people wanted you to stay the villain for that season.
Oh,
and
yeah,
it fit
for
the
sure.
storyline. So,
and that's something that I'm willing to take on because I know other people couldn't handle it. I couldn't handle it. And I'm probably,
I don't know if I can handle it either.
The people that were shown, I don't think could handle the amount that I couldn't. And I like to say I'm probably one of the strongest people on there because I don't play games. And just even that, I was like, just having like the world just sit here and do this. And I say it's projection, like in psychology, like how they feel about themselves as they're projecting it onto you. I just felt like the world was projecting on me.
Yeah.
And I'm over here just like, you would have did the same, or you wouldn't know what to do because you over here, working, whatever, and you're not over here filming. You don't know how you would react.
Yeah.
So
you were like in such a niche experience and people just were so quick to judge about it. And anybody that's spoken to be like, I think we should give Jackie more grace, about what happened because it's like a very unique experience.
Yeah.
What's going on behind the scenes with your family.
Yeah.
They're like, you, like they just want you to stay the villain, which is like why I felt bad that you didn't get to speak at the reunion. And I noticed she hadn't been on any podcasts, and I'm like, I don't feel like she's been able to like speak her truth like at all.
Yeah. And it's hard too because we're in such a sticky situation with like this whole show and like the previous people, they're going, through it with the lawsuit and everything, all this other stuff. It's kind of like, what can you say when you can't say? And everybody has their own experience. Me, I had good and bad. Just like, Marshall had good and bad. Everybody had good and bad when it comes to this. It's just what can you say without being sued? Because I don't want to sit here and say the wrong thing and then they're like, $2 million you owe us, go ahead and put that in my check. That's the last thing I want because I don't got that.
Yeah.
So it's like you got to tread lightly when it comes to situations like that,
which is hard because you're like trying to clear your name, but you're also not trying to be sued. So it's like I just got to continue playing the villain card so that I don't lose $2 million.
Yeah. And not only that, like, it's been a year.
It's been a long time. I saw your TikTok joking about it and you're like still getting death threats and you're like, damn, it's been a year later.
Right?
Like,
I'm over here like, I'm going to meet you at the gas station. And I'm like, what the heck? Like, they threatening me. Why are you threatening me? Like, it's been a year and a half. Like, let's move on.
have you had anybody say anything to you in real life?
Ain't nobody gonna run up on me and say nothing. I'm 5'10", girl.
You're not short.
I'm 5'10", and I got a lot. He said I had fantastic forehands. Marshall said I had fantastic forearms. So if you want to run up and say something to me, just know you won't get the hands. Like I said before, I stay ready so I don't have to get ready. No one's saying anything crazy to me. And if they did, I know how to handle myself correctly at all times.
Yeah. Yeah. I always wonder with like people that are just getting slammed on the internet. I'm like, does anybody have the balls to do that in real life?
Oh no, girl. People are always scary. Like this, and what's crazy is like, it took me a while to realize that the one person that always was telling me was Josh. He's like, these people out here scary. These people are scary. And I'm like, no, they're not. They're not scary. He's like, they're scary. And they are. Cause like there was one time where me and Josh, we were walking in Pike Place. Like we live literally right in front of like downtown Seattle. So we just like walk around everywhere. And there was a couple that was traveling out of state and they were just like, oh my God, like it's you too. And they were like, we didn't really know like what to expect because we have like this certain image of you guys like being like the worst couple of all time. But you guys are actually hella chill. Like you guys are one of the chillest people. Like Josh is so chill. Like he's like, yeah, I'll take a picture. click. And they love him. They love Josh. But when it comes to me, Jackie, like, we don't give it, like, it's crazy because, like, Josh has been in Ohio for the last, like, month or so taking care of his dad. And I'm over here on Instagram Live. I'm doing everything. And they're like, girl, where's Josh? Where's Josh? Put Josh on the phone. And I'm over here like, what about me? And they're like, what about you? Put Josh on the phone. And I'm like, okay. So it's like they want to see me and him together. And we will always be together. It's just they were thinking they might be together and be a certain way, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just curious if anybody has ever like run up you and tried
Girl,
some crazy.
No way. Not on my watch.
Probably like last question.
Yeah.
Obviously there's a lot of like questions about like what exactly did you mean by you need to like boss up and be more aggressive? Because some people were, I think when Marshall talked about this, it was like, you meant aggressive in bed, which I don't think there's anything wrong with like communicating that with a partner.
Yeah.
But then it was kind of like twisted into you saying that he needs to be more of a man. And like, that's what I mean. It was very double-sided. Because a lot of the fighting was going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And then people were able, because there wasn't actual like footage. It just I don't know. When I was like trying to follow what was going on, I was like, why are there so many like narratives going on?
So when I meant by boss up, I just felt like Marshall was like, how do I just say it? He was more like my bestie. Like, that's my bestie. Like, we can just sit here and just kiki. And I'm over here needing you to be like assertive. That's what I should have said, assertive. I should have said, you need to be more assertive. You need to be more like X, Y, and Z. You know, cut it off exactly where it is. And I think the wrong word that I chose was boss up. I should have said you need to be more assertive and you need to be more, I don't even know how to say it, because it was like one of those things where I want you to be more aggressive, more assertive, but I also want you to be more in there. Like, because he was in there, but he wasn't in there, if that makes sense. He was fine in bed. Like, Marshall's fine in bed. Like, I could sit here and be like, Marshall's great. He's great. He's not lacking in any way. He's fine. But I just meant relationship wise, like me as a woman, I have to play my role and I know I have to boss up in my own decisions. And Marshall as a man, he has to boss up and make his own decisions. And I just felt like as a couple, when we needed to boss up, it was more like I'll boss up and then he kind of leads behind.
Yeah, that you have
sense.
a more like dominating personality.
Yeah.
You have a very like aggressive personality that you need somebody to like match me or and like go above, like so that it doesn't feel like you're just overbearing.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then it just like got kind of like twisted into like you saying that he's not a man or that he's gay, and I was like, this fight, quote, like that had this actual like communication occur was never on camera. Just like the whole slur thing was never on camera, but you got slammed for this one. And then like, I feel like the slur thing just kind of like trickled away. So I just, again, like people trying to fit the narrative, like Jackie was the villain and like just very confused with like, what did she even mean by that? Like what even fucking happened?
And I felt so bad watching it because I was like, like that is not what I wanted to be. I did not mean to degrade him as a man. I would never want to demasculate nobody because he's a man. Regardless what type of man he is, that's a man. And I don't want to sit here and demasculate him because he is a man. I just wanted him to be more assertive in situations that were dealt with. And he was assertive in some situations, but I wanted him to be more assertive in collective in general. Like just always be on point, because the last thing I want to do is have a situation roll on me as a woman and I don't know how to maneuver. But you as a man, you know how to maneuver, and you can literally just be like, all right, babe, just sit back. I'm a man. I can deal with this. You know, if that makes sense. Because like my dad has always been the head honcho. Like he was always assertive. Like if my mom, was, doing something, he'd be like, don't worry about that. Like I got that. Like I'm a grown ass man. Like I can handle that. And Marshall did those in some instances. But when it comes to Josh is always. And sometimes I'm kind of just like, babe, like chill out. And he's just, that's how he is. That's just how he's programmed.
Yeah.
And it always comes down to like dating in general. Like, I have dated guys that were not even dated, because Josh is like my first boyfriend in a sense, but situationships. Like I'll hook up with guys and they'll be assertive, and then some guys are just kind of like, you know, and I'm just like, okay. And I just wanted somebody just to be, you know what, let me handle X, Y, and Z, and you just sit by.
Yeah.
That's what I meant to say. Let me handle the big dog things. Let me handle things that, you know, you don't necessarily have to handle, because that was one thing that we talked about. I don't want to fight wars by myself. I don't want to fight battles by myself. If we're going to be a partnership and a team and a unity, we need to handle these battles accordingly with each other. And I felt like I was handling some battles by myself, and I wanted him to boss up, level up, and be like, hey, I can handle that too.
Yeah.
And in situations like with my dad being sick, like it was a lot for me. And Josh was just like, you know what, let me kind of just be that person to kind of just not like handle things, but kind of just be like a shoulder to cry on. Mm-hmm. And even though Marshall was a shoulder to cry on, we were crying together.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I don't want to cry together all the time. I just want somebody to just be like, no, like cry on me. I'm strong enough and we can keep it moving.
Yeah.
And that's where I feel like me and Marshall disintegrated. Mm-hmm. In the pods, we were so strong. Yeah. In the pods, we were really strong. Like we were probably as strong as Brett and Tiff in the pods. And then the cracks just came when we came to Seattle. It was just cracky.
Yeah.
And it sucked because we both wanted the same thing. It's just, I think we saw what we wanted and needed in each other instead of just being like, you know what, let me make sure that we're for certain. If that makes sense. I think we just balanced off each other's like steezes. Like Marshall is very like, cool, like off camera, he's just like me, like cool, suave, like real chill. And we really vibed on that. Like in the pods, so suave, so chill, so like real. And I really liked that. And when we came to Seattle, he was still the same, but he was more vulnerable. Mm-hmm. And that's when I was just like, I can't be vulnerable and have you vulnerable too. And it sucks saying that because I shouldn't say that because I feel like it's so disrespectful because everybody deserves to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
But sometimes let me be a little bit more vulnerable and then you have your time.
Yeah. You just want it like separated.
Yeah. And I feel like dating in general is just so hard.
Yeah.
Especially in Seattle. Like I had to go on a damn show to find somebody, girl, and he's not even from here.
Yeah.
The both guys I chose is not even from here.
Yeah, my current boyfriend's not even from here.
Yeah.
From the East Coast.
Seattle, man, I don't know what's going on, but we need to boss up. We need to boss up. Be more assertive out here in these streets because Seattle is just over here just trash.
Dating in your 20s, and then I just think that, I mean, I've lived here my entire life. The dating pool
Same.
is,
Yeah.
it's questionable.
It's very questionable. It's so questionable. And I'm over here.
That sounds so hater, but like anybody that like
Girl.
actually grew up here,
Keep it real.
They know. They're like, yeah, I don't like there's nobody to date here.
And what's crazy too is everybody I feel like is Eskimo brothers or sisters. Like we've hooked up with probably the same.
I say this all the time. Seattle's so small.
So small.
Like especially like growing up here entire life. Like people, not a lot of people I think leave. It's a cool city. So a lot of people stay and then everybody knows everybody.
Yeah. And like there was one particular guy that I used to go like back and forth with many moons ago. I had girlfriends that were just like, oh girl, I've been had that.
Yeah.
And I'm over here like,
with somebody's like leftovers.
what? I'm over here a plan B, not Jackie B as plan B. It couldn't be me. And I'm just like, this is ghetto. This is ghetto. I don't like it. And then I had to go on a show, girl. And even on the show, I'm like fighting for my life. So I'm fighting for my life here and there.
Yeah. Well, I hope that at least like you're able to like get more of your story out there and like actually have people hear you. It's hard to get it out with like screenshots, Instagram stories.
Yeah.
Like
the platform was on live.
Yeah.
That was our biggest platform.
Yeah. And then again, like people may not even be like all watching that type of thing.
Yeah.
But like if you don't go to the live. You're not going to see the live.
Exactly.
I don't think I've ever been in your live. So I just was gathering information from like what you were posting, and a lot of it was just all over the place. Other people going on podcasts, and I was like, what the is going on?
Yeah.
But
I just felt like this, I don't know what's going on, but it's messy, girl. They need to clean it up. Clean up on aisle 1 immediately.
do you think they're going to, I know they're like already like filming and like doing other cities for Love is
Season
Blind.
5 is coming out.
Are they actually going to release it with like the lawsuits that's going on?
Child, I have no idea.
Yeah.
To be honest, like looking back, I feel like season 3 after the altar was like a month or 2 before our season aired.
I was confused because I think I watched or I saw that like more Love is Blind was coming out. I was like, oh, the Seattle season. And then it was after the altar. And then like you guys were like immediately after.
Yeah. I consider ourselves a Love is Blind couple. I don't care if we got married or not.
Well,
we are a Love is Blind couple.
People were trashing you guys, but then Bliss and were totally fine.
Yeah.
Like, but they did this, like they connected outside of the pods.
Yeah.
But that's fine.
That's
but yours
fine.
is, yeah. So
Yeah, girl.
it's very, very double-sided.
It is. And I think how it was portrayed too is Bliss was a little bit more blissful, a little bit more graceful, obviously. And I was a little bit more rough and more like, nah, I'm good off of you.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the difference between 600,000 followers and 200,000 followers. That's the difference.
Yeah.
How you handle your situations. Blissful, handle it really great. Look how me, I'm over here roughneck. Nope. That. And I'm over here like me and Josh, like the bottom barrel, like barely, 200,000. But it's not about followers at the end of the day. I don't care. Like followers to me, okay, fine, whatever. But at the end of the day, like I'm laid up with my man and we're happy.
Yeah, you found your person, which was the whole point of the experiment. No.
I did exactly what the show wanted me to.
Yeah.
I just did it a little bit.
Yeah.
Jackie B way.
Yeah, and you've gotten slammed. People are like, it's so obvious that she just only went on to be like an influencer.
How?
She's really like you were talking about this. You're one of the only few that is actually still working. Like,
I'm literally going to work every day. I'm going to work Tuesday through.
She's not a full-time influencer.
No,
like
I can't live off of these influencing things. I don't even know how these people. Well, I mean, obviously, Deputy and all them are living, good off of their influencing. But me, I went to school for a reason. I went to school to no teeth. I went to school for a certain reason. I'm not going to give up all my education for Keurig. I'm not going to give up my education for Fashion Nova. I'm not going to do that because I worked so hard for that. And Josh being in his master's program for him to be a marriage and family counselor. Sorry, I do those looks like marriage family therapy,
Oh, I was like, is there a ghost?
He's my therapist. He's gonna be my marriage family therapist. Him being like in his schooling, we're not gonna give those up.
Yeah.
Because we worked so hard for our careers. Like I couldn't imagine going through all this schooling just to be like, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I'm cool. I'm just gonna do influencing. Like what? Like that's great. I would love to wake up at 10 in the morning every day, but I feel like I would be so bored. I'd be so bored. I'd be like, And after a while, dries up. These people aren't going to be known in the next 10 years.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Maybe me. I don't know. Because I'm a villain. I remember Shake more than I do Deep D, to be honest. Well, no, I lied. I remember Deep D more than I do Shake.
Yeah.
But you don't want to ever give up your main career. And I saw the podcast that those two did, Natalie and Deep D, where they were just like, oh yeah, we left our jobs and blah, blah, blah. That's great. That's great. That's totally great. But we have to be realistic for everybody on the spreadsheet. There's some people that can leave their job and do whatever they want to do. That's great. There's some people that have to go to work every single day. There's some people that are homeless, supposedly, We hitting all types of bases here, girl.
Yeah.
So you get all types of things, But at the end of the day, I'm just a regular person. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm better than X, Y, and Z because I'm not.
Yeah. You like didn't go on the show for any sort of type of clout or that type of thing. I feel like anybody that goes on like everyone's like, oh, they just want it for clout. I'm like, you go on TV, like that's kind of like an expectation, but also like I don't feel like you went on it entirely just for that purpose.
Oh no,
like,
and at the end of the day, when we were like being scouted for it, they were kind of like, okay, well, there is a possibility that you're not going to be, not working. There is going to be a possibility to where you're going to have to be working for like the rest of your life. Okay, I'm going to have to do that anyways. Even if I'm not influencing, even when you're influencing, you still have to work for the rest of your life, So why not work 3 days a week and then I have the other 4 to do my influencing? Mm-hmm. And that's what I do. I have my main job. I work my 3 days a week. And I do my little pictures, get paid here and there. Then I go about my day. That way I have double income instead of just one income. And then it dries up and then I have to go and, scramble and
reboot.
Exactly. I don't want to reboot, girl.
Yeah.
I'm already in a realm where I'm cool and I know exactly what I need to do. Even though people were just like, you don't know what you're talking about with halitosis. I know what I'm talking about when it comes to halitosis. When you got that halitosis breath, you always gonna have that halitosis breath in my eyes. Just because you cleared it up, I'm cured. Okay. But you still got that stink breath. You shouldn't have been in that situation from Jump Street. But now that you were, you always gonna be a yuck mouth. And that's where you come see me, the yuck mouth queen.
Influencer at night, dental hygienist by day.
Hey, clean them up, clean them up.
Is there anything else that you want to like clear up, get off your chest before probably we're out of time?
I do have to say that I have to take accountability for my actions, not only in my relationship on camera with Marshall, but my relationship with Josh. I know that there are some repercussions of why we didn't go to their reunion. Mm-hmm. And mainly those were me. And when you do public stupid stuff, you have to do a public apology. Mm-hmm. And I want to do a public apology to Josh because he didn't deserve what he got. Mm-hmm. Not only from production standpoint, but for me. Because if I would have just listened to maybe 1 or 2 things, maybe our outcome would have been a little bit different. And not only that, maybe he would have felt a little bit more heard. I felt like Josh was like, I don't want to say swept under the rug, but appearanced when he should have been a staple. Where he should have been like, you know what? That's my girl. We're not going to, go more in depth. This is how it is, X, Y, and Z. We're going to move about it. And that's how it should have been. Mm-hmm. But I feel like I took that from him. So I just want to say that I'm sorry for my behaviors, because I know my behaviors are not only like triggering, but doing the most, over exaggerated. But the fact that he has to be with me and still kind of like deal with, the 5 steps forward, 5 steps back. He's such a great guy. And I got lucky. I got really lucky. I know that, everyone says, oh, I got so lucky, just to say it. But damn, no, I'm so serious. I got really lucky. Because if you would have sat here and told me I was going to end up with somebody like Josh, I would have been like, girl, you're tripping. Especially for something like this,
Yeah.
So I definitely want to say I apologize to my baby. I love him so much. And it's one of those things where we take every day one step at a time. And this is our story. And we, just to clarify, we did not meet because of the show. We met because we were supposed to be together. They just happened to facilitate things to where we could meet each other in this realm.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cute.
Oh, thanks.
Okay, I think we are out of time, unfortunately.
Damn.
I know.
I love it here.
Just kept talking.
I know. I told you I was a rambler.
No. I like it. Because sometimes I'm like, continue.
Yeah.
Like I don't have anything else to say.
Josh would have been like, babe, shut the up.
No, I live in a house of ramblers. I'm for it. I'm like, continue, Mom. I don't have anything else to say. I'm a quiet one.
Yeah.
But that is it for this episode. Thank you so much, Jackie, for coming.
Thank you for having me.
She's my first guest. Isn't it lit?
This is my first podcast. We're each other's first.
I know.
I love that. I love that.
And next week we will have another episode. It's TBD. I have no idea what the next episode is. I'm going to be completely honest. But yeah, come back every Wednesday at noon. And then you can plug your socials as always. Jackelina Bonds, Instagram. That's it. That's on everything?
On everything. I deleted my Twitter. I had to because I was like, Josh was like, you
Twitter's
can't.
gnarly.
Twitter is crazy.
Or X.
And now they got Instagram Threads. I'm over here trying to not get crazy on Threads, but it's Jackelina Bonds on Instagram. Just go ahead and follow me, and I'm gonna give you all of me and more. Give you all of me. Yeah.
We've been, as soon as we plugged in, we were like, we gotta sing in these mics.
It's so nice. I'm so grateful that you invited me on this show.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I love it here. Have me more.
Yeah, she can come back.
Hey.
After the altar, she back.
I'm back. Round two, y'all. And I know round 2 is going to be a way better one.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure.
Okay. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Yay.
Yay.